Hello everybody and welcome to the show Pathways of Life. This is the episode number 1, so the first, and the eternal essence that accepted to take part to this conversation is Ron Van Dyke from Melbourne, Florida. Emanuele Nusca is with you in this emission made to tell something I believe is very useful to know. The purpose of Pathways of Life is to share news, feelings, emotions, discovers and things that needs to be said in this particular time we are living in. As I like to say, share our knowledge to improve our power is a good thing to do. If you want to take part of this conversation, feel free to find us on the major social networks like Facebook, Google+, or YouTube, and add your comments, ideas, and anything you think is good to share to improve information and get in touch with more awakened people working to build a new world society based on truth and love. So, welcome, Ron, and thank you to be here with me today.
Thank you, Emmanuel. I'm really looking forward to having a chat with you. We had a preliminary conversation earlier just to get to know each other a little bit, which was a good idea. Thank you for doing that. I'm here to answer whatever questions or go in whichever direction you feel is of interest to those that may be listening in.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to be here. So, the first question I always used to ask to my guest is to tell a little bit about their story briefly to let them know to the public, because I hope that this emission will be listened by many people in future. So, just let know us your life, Ron, please.
Well, there's been 67 years of it, so there's a lot of living. I mean, I've been on a spiritual journey my entire life. When I was 18, my parents informed me that before I was even born, they made a deal with God that God could have their firstborn child, and that was me. I was born 9 months and 4 days after they got married. So I guess a lot of the relatives were counting on their fingers to figure out if they did something wrong before they got married, although nowadays that's not considered a big deal. But back then, in the 40s, it was probably a lot bigger deal than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I grew up going to church all the time. When my parents used to punish me as a teenager, the punishment was you can't go to church. Now, that's very different from most teenagers, I'm sure. But in any case, along about the late 70s, early 80s, I began to really press against the boundaries of the fundamentalist Christian religion that I was raised in, and began exploring and asking questions. And I met up with a mentor named Dr. Bruce Morgan, who memorized the entire New Testament, which is an amazing feat in and of itself. But he and I became very good friends, and he led me to follow my heart and to pay attention to my emotions and to not be afraid to ask the difficult questions. And so that really opened up my journey to exploring Native American spirituality, Eastern religions, including Buddhism and Hinduism, of course, continuing to look at Western religions and philosophies, and just broadening my perspective as to how the world works and to what spiritual truth is, and questioning things, just questioning a whole bunch of stuff that I had been taught and a whole bunch of things that were common to humanity. And I guess I started writing poetry in 1977, actually, and I started my webpage in 2004, although I started the community calendar in 1998, but it was just emails initially. But in 2010, something very strange happened. I was contacted by a gentleman from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, and he suggested to me that I start doing videos. And I didn't even own a video cam at the time, a webcam or whatever. And just within the same week, one of my local friends made the same suggestion to me to start doing videos on YouTube and whatnot. So on the two suggestions, I went out on January the 11th, 2011. I made my first ever video from my own computer, live and on the air, on YouTube, of course. And I didn't realize at the time, but within a very short time, I realized I was supposed to be doing videos every day. So since January 2011, I've been doing videos every single day. And this is my fourth year now. And I have a worldwide audience that listens to me. I average, I don't know, it might even be over 1,100 views per video. And all I do is just talk to the microphone, and I promised from the beginning that I would tell the truth. In other words, I would be vulnerable. If I was in a bad mood, I would say, this is what's going on with me right now. I didn't hide anything. I didn't try to sugarcoat or cover anything up. I just told it like it was. And then in July last year, I was contacted by one of my friends, Peter Van Runt from Australia, who invited me to become part of a SWISSINDO delegation. And I had been very familiar with the OPPT and what had gone on there with Heather and those. And so since the beginning of last year, I was 2013, I was well familiar with what was going on there. So it was an easy transition for me to move into the SWISSINDO thing. But of course, it was kept pretty hush-hush for a long time. We weren't allowed to make it public. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But as of March of this year now, pretty much all of the secrecy has been removed, and we're allowed to talk much more openly about it. And I don't know what else you want to know, but that brings us up to the current time. And I've hit on a few things, but let's see where we go from here.
Yeah. So, first things I would like to say is really thank you for what you're doing, because I am one of your thousands followers. So, I never listen at your whole production. That is a huge word, and I advise for any people that still don't know you to listen at some of your video, because yes, you speak the truth. I can say that because I feel it since the first video of you I saw, and that's why I'm here to talk with you, to trying to make a link as well between Italy and you and all the other people. So you named SWISSINDO.
It was interesting, Emmanuel, when I first started going on the calls with SWISSINDO, and they were private chats and everything, on secure platforms, or at least we hoped they were secure, or hoped at the time. But anyway, people immediately from every continent on Earth, except Antarctica, they recognized who I was, because many people around the world had been listening to my videos, which was a real surprise to me. Well, not that, I mean, it was a surprise that so many people that were also delegates recognized who I was and knew me right off the bat, and were glad to have me on board. And many of them, or some of them anyway, suggested that they had hoped that I would become a delegate. So this was a very good thing for me. To understand that I'm now working with people that are other visionaries and have a similar vision to my own of creating a world that works for everybody.
Yes, and that is a great, huge thing that I really love. And in fact, I was really pleased to jump myself in this commitment as well. We can say that, because I'm almost doing the same thing, trying to speak, trying to uncover a lot of news that are coming out in these days. So, before we jump in the argument that I would like to talk with you, which is basically SWISSINDO, because I want to know more. I followed them a little bit, but I think you can give us more information. Before this, I would like to ask you, what is happening now in the world? Your vision about this?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, what is your vision at this moment of now of these big changes around the world? Why is this happening now, according to you?
Well, of course, people are waking up all over, and why is it happening? I believe it's happening because of astrological influences, alignments of planets, of galaxies, of stars. You know, there's the astrological element that's involved. There's the spiritual element. I believe we're being downloaded by the cosmos with information that will allow us to awaken and most importantly, remember that we are more than just a physical body having a human experience that to many people may seem like nonsense, and it may seem like it's there's no meaning to it, but there's great meaning to it, and every single one of us is more than what we may realize. We're more than just a physical expression. We're an eternal essence having a human experience, and it's time to move out of darkness into light and to awaken and to remember that we've always been connected to all of life. We've always been connected to the entire universe, and this connection is our liberation, because as we realize that and we get out of the narrow confines of limitation and the confines of lack consciousness, separation consciousness, and we begin to really awaken, we have the potential of changing the world forever, from a world where people have to suffer and hurt and constantly strive to just to survive. All of that, we have the potential of putting that behind us and really creating a bridge to move to a world that everyone can prosper, everyone can be healthy, everyone can have knowledge and to experience their own creativity. And I really believe we're on the verge of a new renaissance. You're from Italy, and of course, a lot of the Renaissance back several hundred years ago began in Italy. And now it's worldwide, everywhere on the planet, every continent on the planet, people are waking up, and we're going to be resubmitting Tesla's technology, for example, of free energy, all the technologies, the healing technologies and stuff that have been suppressed by the current system are going to be released, and they're being released even as we speak now. And this is transformative of everything on the planet. Nothing that we've ever been taught is the way we were taught it. And that goes for politics, religion, business, science. All of it is subject to review and being updated with new information that will actually be the truth that sets us free. And that's where I see that we are. And it's an exciting time to be alive. I think we all signed up for this. And we're all waking up each in our own time, in our own way, and we're expressing it, each of us, again, differently, and yet it's the same message. I'm waking up. I'm remembering. I'm discovering a whole lot of new things that I didn't know before, and part of that is my own creativity. Part of that is my own love and my compassion and my desire to be connected with people and to work together cooperatively instead of competitively.
Yeah, very nice. I completely agree with what you said. This is the very moment that I think Earth is becoming one society. We must become one somehow, and I guess we will succeed somehow. But we have to do a really big effort around the world, but this is already in process. In fact, on my website, which is Italian, of course, I try to publish just news, but real news, things we don't know still, things we have to know, things that show us that we have medical treatment for any disease, showing us that we have possibly many possibilities to create our own energy and so on and so forth. So we have the solution, basically. We have all the solution. The thing is to try to find the point where to join all these solutions. So one of these big solutions we have at the moment, you already named, is OPPT, that basically we studied a lot in Italy. I can say for the listeners that in Italy there is a very large group of people that is studying these documents and is trying to, and is starting already to applying these documents, and we already have several success stories. So it's a very good thing. But I can see the process is not complete, because I think that OPPT is just one side of the deal, but we still need to join other big revelations around the world, like SWISSINDO, this big, huge trust. So I would like you introduce what you know about this SWISSINDO trust and what they want to do in reality, because this is a thing that we need to understand in detail. And I know there are still a lot of things that needs to be understood and discovered, but so if you can just tell us what you know till now.
Well, let's start with the OPPT, because that was the beginning of another remedy for the criminality that was going on in our world. Literally, the corporations have been involved in human slave trade and extortion racket for a long time. And it starts with the Vatican and the Catholic Church, and it goes to the City of London, the financial system, and it goes to the Washington, D.C., which is the world police force of the cabal, if you will, or the matrix. And Heather did a tremendous job, of tremendous vision of creating from the UCC1, which is the Uniform Commercial Code, creating a series of documents that basically foreclose on the corporate governance and governments of the world, as well as, of course, the major banks and whatnot. But there was no way of bringing that process into actual implementation.
Yeah.
And SWISSINDO and Mr. Sino, Mr. Sugi, had been wanting to create a way to fulfill that which Sukarno and John Kennedy started back in the 1960s, where they were going to eliminate the Federal Reserve, basically, and set up a financial system on Earth using the Green-Hilton Agreement, and set up a system where the people of the world could prosper and be blessed. But, of course, they killed Kennedy within a week after he was signing that executive order. I think it was, I can't remember the number. I was saying 111, but that might not be true. But in any case, he had signed an executive order that would eliminate the Federal Reserve. And, of course, they had him brutally murdered in broad daylight in Dallas back in November 1963. And then Sukarno was people in Indonesia that were connected with this, and Mr. Sugi all of a sudden realized that he knew all of the accounts that Sukarno had, that the spiritual wonder boy or the white spiritual boy or whatever, all those collateral accounts. He knew the accounts, he knew the account numbers, he knew how much was in them, and he thought, well, OPPT now gives me the vehicle to bring this into alignment, and the vision of SWISSINDO is to peacefully transition the world from the old paradigm of corruption and competition and human slavery and economic bondage to one that is the exact opposite, where truth and justice can actually prevail through a system of common law where everyone is accountable and nobody can hide behind a corporate veil, where all the debts are basically forgiven because they're not real anyway, and everybody can experience peace and prosperity and, as I said earlier, creativity. I mean, it's a burst of creative energy that's being unleashed upon the planet, and it's going to make the former Renaissance look like the Dark Ages almost by comparison, because we're moving into something that's brand new and SWISSINDO and Mr. Sino, they're funding the whole thing, providing the economic bridge, if you will, to get us out of the lack consciousness into abundance consciousness, and eventually it's the intent to realize and to wake up to the point where we realize we don't even need money at all. But the bridge in between there is from a place where most people have lack and only a few people have abundance to where everyone has abundance. And then you realize the abundance comes from us, not from money, not even from gold. And the other thing is, Mr. Sino is actually, he traces his lineage back to King Solomon. He's a long line of kings, and the kings made an agreement, all these monarchs made an agreement at one point that they would develop the M1. And this is all available in the History of Banking, an Asian Perspective. And that's a document that can be found online. You can simply Google it. Again, it's the History of Banking, an Asian Perspective. There are several forms of that document. Some of them have been edited a little bit. Some of them have had things taken out. But the basis is that Mr. Sugi, Mr. Sino, is the M1, or the controller of currency for the whole world. He's the authorized signature on at least some of the collateral accounts. I'm not going to say all of them. There may be accounts that he's not the signatory for, because there's several people claiming to be the lawful person to sign. But he is the one that is the link between the Illuminati, if you will, that is the monarchs and the old system of kings and queens and ruling families and things like that. And he's trying to make the human race wake up to the fact that everybody is a king. Everybody is a queen, king or a queen. Everybody is a royal. We're all connected. We're all one. And it's not about authority. In fact, people that I've talked to, that I know personally through the delegation, that have spent time with Mr. Sino, he's a very humble man. He's a servant. He's a servant king, which is not what we usually think of when we think of monarchs. We think of people that are authorities and can order people to be put in jail or killed or whatever. But he's the exact opposite. He doesn't tell people what to do. He wants people to wake up and ask, how can I serve? What role can I play to help in the transition from the old paradigm to the new? So SWISSINDO is actually, as I see it, and as I've seen it for some time, taking the OPPT to the next step in the process of actual implementation, actually providing the means for enforcement and bringing order to the world out of the chaos of the old matrix. We're bringing order to the world by repurposing the military, for example, by repurposing our police forces. How do we repurpose them? Well, one thing is the government are bankrupt because they do not have access to the collateral accounts anymore. That's been taken away from them. And so if they want to continue to operate any type of institution at all, they need to have funding. And when the collateral accounts that Mr. Sino is working with are released, he will be paying the military. He will be paying the police. But the stipulation is that they have to do it under common law. Do no harm. Don't violate the free will of anyone else. Don't take something that's not yours away from someone who has that in their possession. In other words, cause no loss. And these basic fundamental principles are not negotiable. If they want the funding from the collateral accounts, the only way to get it is to sign an oath and bond to be able to operate under common law, which is universal law, the law that we all have in our hearts, the law that we know intuitively. Nobody has to teach it to us. It doesn't have to be written down anywhere. We know that if I went up to you and I hit you over the head and I took your wallet and I took your car keys and I went and I took your house, and if you had a wife, I took your wife and I took the kids and I said, well, these are mine then. Well, you would know that, hey, you can't do that. That's wrong. Of course, everyone would know that. That's natural law. And that's what we're trying to go back under, instead of the convoluted and complicated system of law that's known as canon law or Roman law that comes out of the Vatican and even predates the Vatican, probably goes back to Babylon, I imagine, or maybe even further back than that. I don't know. But in any case, that system of law is a system of authority and of telling people what to do and of violating people's free will and of actually doing harm. The governments are the greatest threat to peace as they have existed, and SWISSINDO is trying to address that issue and correct the problem. And anybody, that no matter what they've done, if they come back and just simply tell the truth and own what they have done and agree to work under the new principles, everybody can be forgiven and everybody can come back. And nobody is going to be punished. It's not about punishment. It's about correcting and repurposing everything that's going on in our world. And to me, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so pleased to have been invited to even be part of it, to participate. But there are hundreds of thousands of people, I believe, around the world that have the same vision as SWISSINDO, even though they're not currently connected to it. They have the same intent, the same vision of a world that works and brings peace, and where creativity is not squashed by people trying to control technology and control medicine for their own benefit, for their own profit, at the expense of everybody else. All of this vision is worldwide. As you said, it's happening in Italy. You told me earlier in our previous conversation that you had the opportunity to spend some time in Australia, and so you're aware that this is going on all over, and it's all over Europe, it's all over the Americas, it's all over Australia, it's all over Africa, it's all over Asia. It's everywhere that people are waking up and remembering that it's up to us now. We're the ones we've been waiting for. We can change everything if we will just simply focus on the fact that we have tremendous potential that has been suppressed, but now that we know that it's there, we can unleash it. And that I don't believe anything on earth can stop that. Nothing on earth.
Yeah, that is true, and this is big. What you just said is really huge, and is as well what I feel as well from SWISSINDO, because I watched some videos, I watched the interviews you made, but as well it's very complicated now how to join this SWISSINDO Trust to all the rest of the good things are happening. So you say that Mr. Sugi wants that people sign or government sign these OTM bonds, but I would like to ask you, Ron, who is in charge? Who can possibly be in charge to sign these documents by the time that we are all kings and queens? So each one of us, according to me, should sign these OTM bonds or not. What do you think about this?
Well, a lot of people have said that you have to join, you have to sign something. Actually, no one has to sign anything unless they're going to serve a role in public service. if you're going to hold a position of, I'm going to use the word authority, but it really, because everyone is under the same common law, nobody can tell someone else what to do and force them to do it without their consent.
Yeah.
Consent is absolutely essential. And everyone's free will is totally honored under the system that SWISSINDO is proposing and attempting to roll out, and it will be rolled out one way or another. I don't know all the ways how, but it will be rolled out. And those that serve as policemen, for example, if that's your job, you will need to serve to have an oath and bond. If you're going to be funded for a CVAC, which is Creation Value or Creators Value Asset Centers, which is the replacement for the corporate structure, if you're going to be funded from the collateral accounts, you have to serve an oath and bond to be a protector of the people, that you're not going to use it for your own gain and use your position to create the same thing that we've known before in the past, a position or roles of authority that command people and tell people what to do. It's the total opposite of that. Only people that choose to be part of a structure will be required, if they're going to get money through this thing, if they're going to be funded, they will be required to sign an oath and bond in order to promise that they're going to use their resources for the public good. And I don't know exactly how that's going to come about, because some people say, well, yeah, okay, so they sign the oath and bond. Currently, people sign oaths, and they're supposed to be bonded, but they violate it every day anyway. They don't keep their word. They're liars, and this is true. And the technology that's going to have to be implemented to actually bring about, how do you enforce the oath and bond? Well, common law courts will be set up everywhere, and common law courts will not be under any government or anything. People can form them on their own and bring indictments against people that violate their oaths and bonds. So this is, we're talking about a whole new system of governance, and it's basically leading towards self-governance. But most people in the world aren't ready yet for self-governance, so there's structures being provided as a bridge. But again, it's not about authority. It's not about telling people what to do, because when you start doing that, you're violating someone else's free will.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it any more clearly than that.
No,
but there's a lot of people concerned along those lines.
It is absolutely clear. It's absolutely clear. This is a thing that we understand. We must give authority to others to operate upon us. If we do not give that authority, nobody can operate upon us. This is a basic principle that is still very difficult to learn and to understand for the people that is still behind. But I hope that this consciousness will rise up with the times. So, how we Italians, for example, now can join and help this process also for SWISSINDO. So what we could do to help or to join this movement and to understand more? Is there a way, or there are already some Italian delegation, as you know, or not?
You know, the truth is, there isn't a European delegation of SWISSINDO. I don't know that I know a single person, or there might be one or two names that I've heard, but for the most part, the European part of SWISSINDO delegation did not participate in a lot of the calls and a lot of the meetings that we had. It was people from the Americas, people from Australia, people from Africa, and people from Asia. But people from Europe have been sort of off by themselves for the most part, interaction. Now, I know Karen Collins, who lives in Austria. She's actually part of the American delegation. I know another gentleman who is in Scotland who is part of the Australian delegation. I'm living in the United States. I'm part of the Australian delegation. Basically, it's a worldwide delegation, but I don't know. I know another one from another delegate from Ireland, but I'm not sure if he's in the. I'm not sure which delegation he's actually part of. His name is John, and I've exchanged emails and stuff with him, but I've never asked him, is he part of the European delegation or what? But the point is, once the funds actually start flowing, and that has not happened yet.
Yeah.
The paperwork was signed, but I have not received, neither have any other delegates received one penny, not one shilling or whatever monetary system you want to use. We have not received anything monetarily from SWISSINDO because the funds have not been released. Once the funds begin to flow, there's already been certain things that have been approved, and other projects will start getting approved and funded very quickly. I believe that Jacques Fresco, who's here in Florida, the guy that's 98 years old, that has this vision of building these future age cities. I can't remember what that's called, but anyway, his funding for him has already been approved by Mr. Sino, and I think there's been, or Mr. Sugi, and there's been others that have been approved, and many of these projects that we all know about will be funded, and once they are funded and become CVAC, people will be able to come into the hubs, the CVAC hubs, and learn more and find out what they can do to get involved, what they can do to get their projects moving, what they can do to help and assist, and join in the fun of recreating a world that works instead of a world that is unsustainable, which is the world that we've known. So until the funding actually begins to flow, I don't know what to tell people because there's really nothing to join. What you will be joining is you will be joining in projects that are CVAC, operating under the CVAC umbrella and under the CVAC requirements, that is, being under common law and taking full accountability for everything you do. There's no hiding. There's no corporate veil to hide behind. There's no diplomatic immunity that allows you to commit crimes. There may be diplomatic immunity to protect you from people that still want to do evil or violate your free will, but that's the only diplomatic immunity that's going to be necessary because everyone will be accountable. But again, there's nothing to join. There's nothing you have to sign up for or anything like that. Once the monies are going and the CVACs begin to be established, the collective CVACs. Now, I want you to understand that each and every human being is a CVAC. And there's nothing to join about that. That's just, if you're a living soul, you're a creation value asset center. You have value in and of yourself, and it's your value. And that's one of the things that's going to change dramatically under SWISSINDO. People will be educated to realize that they are wealthy, that they have basically unlimited resources.
Well. This is a very interesting thing, Ron. Yeah, and I'm sure we will work on it in Italy more on the days to come. A question that perhaps a lot of people already asked, but that is really affecting me as well, is why the people that is actually following OPPT and all this new consciousness, this new awareness, are so scared about SWISSINDO. Perhaps that because of this huge amount of money, they scare people or not. What do you think about this?
Well, people's fears and concerns are primarily triggered by two things. The first thing is titles. People believe that when somebody says they're the king of kings, and they start appointing people as prime ministers and emperors and stuff like that, and using titles from the old system, that scares the hell out of people because of all the abuse humanity has suffered literally for millennia. We have suffered at the hands of people claiming the authority to be our rulers. And to get the concept of a servant ruler or a servant king, a servant monarch, to get that through our heads is really, really difficult. So there's a lot of resistance just simply because of the titles that are being used. And the paperwork that SWISSINDO has put out indicates that they have connections to the World Bank, to the Union Bank of Switzerland or whatever it is, and to the Federal Reserve and to the Committee of 300. I mean, there's connections to all of these because it's a bridge. It has to connect into the old. But as soon as people see that the Committee of 300, and it talks about the Pope and Queen Elizabeth and people that are part of the old system, it talks about these things, and people automatically think, well, it's the New World Order of domination and control. They don't understand the necessity of connecting to the old paradigm in order to build the bridge to the new paradigm. And a lot of people in SWISSINDO, and there's people gathering in Morocco now with Heather and them, and they're all building their nice little happy free love commune there in Northern Africa, and waiting for a 5G manifestation somehow that drops down out of heaven and all of a sudden creates this utopia. I don't believe that that's ever going to happen. That vision of a five-dimensional reality all of a sudden being superimposed on the world. I believe that there needs to be a bridge, which is why I connected with SWISSINDO, why I agreed with what they were doing, and why it wasn't a problem for me.
Well.
And certain things, when I first saw them, they raised red flags for me. Quite honestly, I mean, I was concerned when I saw the connection to the Illuminati, if you will. I mean, that blew whistles in my mind. But then I thought, well, we have to build the bridge from where we've been. We have to start where we are. We can't start from some place that we're not there yet, because that place doesn't exist yet in our experience.
Yes.
So we can never get there from there. And that's what a lot of the people in the OPPT are trying to do. They're trying to get there, the vision of a better world, from there. But they're not there. And there's no way to get there from here unless you build the structure, the bridge, the solid rocket booster, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to go up into space and to float in free float in space, but you need solid rocket boosters and rockets to propel the module, if you will, to get it into orbit. It doesn't just jump into orbit by itself. It needs energy to push it forward. And a building doesn't instantly just arise. It needs scaffolding to actually build it. Now, maybe we will someday reach a technology where we can leap directly into space and free float, where we can create a building just by thinking about it. But we're not there yet, and we have to build the bridge. And this is what I see SWISSINDO providing, and it's the thing that I see as SWISSINDO's biggest hindrance, because people cannot see the need for a connection between the old paradigm and the new paradigm in the sense of building that bridge, building that scaffolding that helps give people the opportunity to awaken without a miracle through a process.
Yes.
The miracle is the instantaneous thing. The process is something that takes time. And as I've said many times, a couple does not get together and create a baby on a night that the baby is conceived. And then the next day they go and they have their baby. It doesn't work like that. It takes 9 months. It takes faith process, development, and the awakening of humanity's consciousness. We've been asleep for a long time, and everybody awakes in their own way and at their own pace. And what we're trying to do is speed that pace up so that people can awaken faster by learning the truth about who they are, by seeing love in operation instead of fear, by seeing people that actually are concerned about the well-being of others and not just trying to do things for their own wealth and their own gain.
Yes.
And moving beyond the greed, moving beyond the lust for power and control over others. When they see that, people will awaken way faster even than we are already awakening.
Yes. I absolutely agree with every single word you said, because I see exactly the same thing. It means we are in a transition process. The awakening process is a fractal process. So it means that that doesn't matter what your actual position in the society is, if you are a politics, a military, or a religious, or a citizen, doesn't matter. If you wake up, you wake up. And now I think that any sector of our society must join. I mean, every awakened sector of our society must join the other sectors, because we still need everything we created up to now. I mean, we still have electricity in our houses because still the petrol power plant are working, but we have to build the new technology and then turn off the old structure. This is the repurposing and the transformation of this society. That's why, in fact, I firmly think that even politics must join this new movement. That's why I opened this website and trying to put in place a structure and an action. Basically, is an action that we people can do to take control over the old politics, becoming every one of us, each one of us, other than kings and eternal essences, but also politicians and banks, as OPPT said. We are values, so it means that each one of us is a bank, as you said before. Well, now is the moment, according to me, that each one of us should become as well a politician, because we must choose together what is good for us and which solution we want to put in place for our problem. Because I always used to say we have one problem and we have many solutions, but most of the times we are discussing and generating low energies on the solutions, because each one of us usually defend his own point of view, his own solution is the best for everyone, and this causes a lot of problems. So I really hope that we can join all the parts together, and I'm seeing this picture as you see. So this is my effort as well, and I'm very glad you are here today, Ron, with me and to discuss these issues. So we are almost at 50 minutes of our conversation. I don't have more specific questions for you, but I would like to leave you some free space to finish this podcast with your idea, with your message for the world, for everyone. Whatever things you want to say now for us, you're welcome.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity that you've given me to share with your audience, and of course, I will be sharing this also with my audience. So it will get out. And what we're trying to do is we're not trying to hurt anybody. We're not trying to make anybody wrong. I mean, my thing is to try to help people to just simply consider things that they might not have considered before, to look at something from a little bit different angle. And I know all the fear that has been put forth in the old system, and there's an awful lot of fear mongers out there that are telling you that the world's coming to an end. I mean, that had happened with 2012. There were all these messages that the world was coming to an end. No, the world isn't coming to an end. The world is actually just beginning anew and afresh. And if we work together, if we can get beyond our fears and address our concerns with truth and honesty and a little bit of trust and a little bit of faith that actually our Creator, whatever term you want to use for that, our Creator intends for us to prosper, intends for us to be healthy, intends for us to be free, intends for us to be magnificent, wonderful creatures that we were created to be. When we realize that and we embrace the fact that we have unlimited potential, that there is no lack, there is no limitation except that which we apply to ourselves, we can break free from the matrix. We can literally create worlds that are beyond our current ability to even imagine. It's all there in our future because we are unlimited potentiality, each one of us and all of us together. And we are interconnected. We cannot do anything to anybody that doesn't affect the whole. And we've got to get beyond the thinking that I can get what's mine and to hell with everybody else. We have that kind of thinking has to stop. It has to end. It's sick thinking. It's insane. It's unsustainable. And it's becoming, as more and more people awaken, it's becoming more unsustainable to follow the old patterns of thinking, the old paradigm consciousness of greed and of control and of lust for power and lust for everything. And it's a material world and a spiritual world, and we need to bring the material and the spiritual together. The material is mater, it is the feminine, it is the mother, and we need to embrace our materiality, our physicality, and embrace our spirituality, combine them just as science and spirituality are being combined. Our physicality needs to be combined with our spirituality. And this is what's happening. And I don't believe anything can stop it. I do believe it's the will of God, if you will. I do believe that everything in the old structure ultimately will be repurposed and it will be made to serve life.
Yeah.
And everything that's alive will be served by this new consciousness of the interconnectedness of everything. We are all part of the same web of life, no exception. There aren't two creations going on here side by side. There's one creation, and we need to take responsibility for everything we've created, because whether we've been active or passive, we have each contributed to the world that we have known. And we need to take responsibility for that world, and when we take responsibility for it, then, and only then, will we be able to change it and transform it into a world that is sustainable, a world that is beneficial for every creature, and no creature suffers because of someone else's ignorance, because ignorance ultimately will be abolished.
Yeah.
And I guess I will leave on that, and I do thank you for this opportunity. We've gone 55 minutes.
Yeah.
Now a little going on 56.
I thank you so much, Ron. Really, I thank you so much to accept this conversation with me and to be the first of this new emission, Pathways of Life, that I hope will host a lot of good people around the world like you that spread good message and good ideas and good news that really can make our lives changing from a month to another. I will not say from a day to another, but really we are in this process and it's unstoppable. We are going on, and every day we're making more connection, and helping each other in the understanding on what's going on, so every one of us can find his place in this big, huge one game of creation, as I used to say. So thank you very much again, Ron. Thank you very much to the listeners, and hear you on the next show. Bye bye.